Welcome to the bold analysis, ladies and gentlemen. If you have been following the Bold podcast, you will know that I have been very consistent on the fact that the Dubai deal was coming to haunt our country and was coming back to haunt Kenya Kwanza. And I am just shooting this video somewhere. I've just realized a development around the Dubai oil deal. So I want us to look at this. Uganda cut fuel imports from Kenya over Ruto deal with Saudis. That is what I want us to look at in this podcast. I want to explain more on that. But before that, I will start by first reminding you about our November project, the purchase of 5 wheelchairs for these 5 needy children that have autism and cerebral palsy. So what we are simply doing is that these kids you are seeing here are actually in urgent need of wheelchair, and what we've decided to do as Team Bold, that we've never done something for the children. I think we've done a couple of charity, but I decided out of all those requests that I received in November, I opted that we can buy the wheelchair. So kindly, let's participate the 100 shillings challenge, the little kidogo kidogo to kijaza. I believe that I'm planning to close it this weekend, to close the 500 this weekend, so that by next week we'll be able to buy the wheelchairs. They have different specifications depending on the need of the child. So thank you very much for those who have been responding. I know may not have contributed, I may not have responded to all, but again, I don't take it for granted. Now, this is what is happening. Uganda's cabinet has approved a bill to be tabled in the country's National Assembly that would cut its reliance on Kenya for fuel imports. In the proposed bill, the Uganda National Oil Company UNOC will be mandated with sourcing and importing petroleum products for oil marketing companies in the country. And in that statement, they are saying that Uganda remarked that their country has in the past faced costly pump prices and supply challenges following Kenya's government-to-government oil deal with Saudi and United Arab Emirates. So consequently, they are saying that what has been happening, and this is what I want you to understand. We did an open tendering and gave some 3 companies in this country, Kenya, to import oil from Dubai under government-to-government deal, which is oil bought on credit, because allegedly wanted to solve the dollar problem. So after the 3 companies importing to Kenya, they are supposed to sell to the oil marketing companies in Kenya and Uganda. So what does it mean? That for Uganda to get their oil, they must buy it from Kenyan oil marketing, from the 3 companies that Kenyan government gave the tender. So if Kenya has challenges with that deal, then it directly affects Uganda, because the government-to-government deal also ensured that there was no any other oil marketing company in East Africa, or rather in Kenya, that was allowed to import oil directly from another country. So this is what Uganda is saying. The fuel sold in Uganda is supplied by Kenyan OMCs. OMCs is oil marketing companies, to their affiliates in the neighboring country. The minister now wants UNOC to source the products and supply them to the local OMCs in Uganda. So what Museveni has said, we will not buy your oil here. We will simply do the best. And what we will do is that we will also import our own oil. And this is what this is the deal they've got. And I want to tell you, this is the deal they have got. Yes, I think it's somewhere here. I need to get it. Yes, UNOC in Uganda, they've also entered a deal with Vitol Bahrain to help a company from Bahrain to help in sourcing and importing oil for Uganda. The Bahrainian company will maintain reserves in Tanzania and Uganda, further cutting the flow of the products through Kenya. We have lost it. And I want to explain for you how we have lost it. Under the Dubai deal, government to government deal, we were supposed to import oil, and the reason why we were allowed to import on credit so that we start paying from September was because it was a huge consignment. Now as we talk, we have imported oil from Uganda, from Dubai, and we're supposed to sell to Uganda. Now if we miss the Ugandan market, it means the amount of imports that we'll be importing here will have to reduce. And in that reduction, Kenya has lost the taxes. Kenya has lost those people that are working in the oil supply chain from Kenya to Uganda. But how have we reached here? Recently there was a story by I think Business Daily that in that government to government deal, the Dubai were feeling insecure that we may not be able to pay for the loan, for the oil, because the oil deal is a loan. Why? There are letters of credit from banks in Kenya. Some banks in Kenya had offered as guarantors, so that they act as guarantors on behalf of government, that in any case government will not be able to pay for that oil, they will pay on behalf of government. So last month there were oil delays, and the oil delay was occasioned by the fact that the Dubai companies were actually declining confirmation of the letters of credit from banks in Kenya, because they are saying that those banks have the likelihood of defaulting. So three things, this thing has failed. It was supposed to help us solve the dollar problem. It has not been solved. The dollar problem is still here with us. Number two, it was supposed to stabilize the price of oil. That has not been achieved. The price of oil is still skyrocketing. Of course, it's been affected by other factors. Now, if Uganda opt out, we are going to lose. But again, we are to blame for this. And I want to tell you why. The three reasons why Uganda is bolting out. And it's squarely blamed on William Samoei Arap Ruto. You remember when Kenya banned the imports from milk imports from Uganda, and Ruto went to Nyeri, and even under the guise of protecting the milk industry, he decided to ban the imports. And the reason why those imports were banned, they were banned to punish Uhuru Kenyatta, who is believed to be the milkman. So it was a ploy to cut his empire, his business empire, because he has investment in the milk sector, especially from Uganda. So when we did it, allegedly we were protecting the milk industry, but you didn't also know that we are interdependent. We depend on each other. While we were banning their milk imports from getting into the country to protect our milk farmers, which we've not even done, they have also said we are not going to import oil from Kenya. They are going the Tanzanian way, and because our Saudi deal is not promising to them. So, ladies and gentlemen, it was wrong, and I think Kenya Kwanza may have to do internal introspecting. It was wrong to do it in the manner of trying to attack, or rather in the manner of trying to make it like, you know what, like it's a big deal. Or rather, let me say it this way: we underrated Uganda, but now they're showing us the middle finger because they're cutting it down. That's number one. Number two, the Dubai oil deal was a deal that was negotiated between Kenya and Uganda. And the first blunder was the open tendering, or rather the closed tendering. This is what happened. The Dubai deal was supposed to import oil to Kenya. But what Kenyan government did is they restricted 3 companies. Only 3 companies in Kenya. And you remember all the 96 oil marketing companies even went to court to challenge that decision, saying that just like the other 3 companies that have been allowed to import oil from Dubai, even the 996 OMCs, oil marketing companies, should just be allowed to import oil from Dubai or any other country if they find a place that it can be cheaper. So that deal locked out oil marketing companies from Uganda that will have the leeway of going to buy oil elsewhere. So for example, if you're an oil marketing company in Uganda, there is no way you can buy oil from another country and it goes through Mombasa port. They will not allow you. In fact, you cannot import, you cannot evade, you cannot go through the bottlenecks. So that was a problem. Even if you wanted to get into that oil deal, the best we needed to do is to ensure that we even allow the space so that other oil marketing companies also insist. And the reason why they've realized is there are government entities, and Kenyan government is benefiting individually by negotiating these deals. That is number one. Number three, this is number two. Number three, Ruto recently went to China to solicit for some SGR loan. And that loan was not given because China is non-committal on whether Uganda is interested. And there were really information moving in the corridors that the trip to China was in a haste, and if William Ruto was negotiating for a deal, SGR deal to extend to the other East African countries like Uganda and Rwanda, he would have involved those countries. So what has happened, Kenya went to negotiate an individual deal, and that was the point of departure between Kenya and Uganda. And clearly, you know, there has been a bit of posturing. We are simply getting it wrong. I also see that Ruto has projected himself as pro-West, and you know, the US, the IMF and the World Banks are not in good books with Museveni. And so, and remember, even the King Charles is here, and bit of the Ruto's foreign policy is also making it a bit of isolation. It's also creating some isolation because it's not coherent with other partners in the region. Ladies and gentlemen, that is my take on this one. Kenya Kwanza is regretting because we rushed on it. We just needed to be sober, face it clearly, and make sure we put our acts together. But because we rushed, we are going to miss it.